All right, we just wrapped up week 16 of the NFL season. Just 2 weeks remaining. Where has the time gone as our playoff picture starts to move into clearer focus? Good chunks of the league now have either punched their ticket or getting ready for the offseason as they've been eliminated, but still a few spots out there left to be grabbed, as well as tons of seeding implications as we head into the final 2 weeks of the season. I'm going through, I'm watching 95% of all these games. I'm taking notes, keeping tabs, ranking all 32 teams 1 through 32. But let's just hop on into it. Let's get into our bottom tier teams who are done for the year, getting ready for the offseason, getting ready for that draft in April, teams 32 through 23. All right, the Giants here at 32, easily the worst team in the NFL, and now they hold the number 1 overall pick with just 2 wins on the season. Patriots at 31, you know what? They're now all the way up to the second pick. This is a horrible football team. It's a horrible coaching staff, but Drake May is good. Drake May is good, does have a couple of mistakes here and there, but I think New England somehow found another franchise quarterback. Let's get some competent pieces around him. Tennessee at 30, bad head coach and Brian Callahan. They don't have a quarterback. Will Levis is not the guy. They paid Tony Pollard a good chunk of money, so you got that going for you. Defense was awful. I don't know, man. It's just ugly in Tennessee. Cleveland, I know Jameis Winston was hurt, but why do you got to put in Dorian Thompson-Robinson? Like, he's awful. He's got like 1 touchdown to 9 interceptions in his NFL career. He ain't it. Dumpster fire Cleveland once again. Jacksonville couldn't manage to beat the Raiders, but, helped them with draft position at least. Doug Peterson's going to get fired. Is Trevor Lawrence going to be the guy? I guess we're going to give it one more crack with him next year with the new head coach. Vegas throwing away the number 1 overall draft pick. Antonio Pierce doesn't care. Getting the win. They fight hard. They do need a quarterback, even though Aiden O'Connell isn't a disaster. The rest of the team, not very good. Brock Bowers is awesome, though. I think he got a little something there with Jacoby Myers. Chicago at 26. What a dumpster fire the Bears are. Caleb Williams is becoming the new Kyler Murray, the king of garbage time. Loves putting up those numbers, but hey, he hasn't thrown an interception like in 12 games or some shit like that. So congratulations, Chicago. Good job for that one. New Orleans, the Saints didn't even field an NFL team tonight. That was just bad. I don't feel bad for them, but this team's in cap hell. They're going to be bad for a long time, and that's what happens when you make a deal with the devil. Panthers getting a big win in overtime. We knew they could do it. They've been so close these last few weeks here. Big win for them. Bryce Young, I love to see it. Makes my heart feel warm, looking like the Alabama Bryce Young. Pair that with a good run game in Chuba Hubbard. I think Dave Canales is pretty clearly established as a decent head coach. If you can turn around Bryce Young like that, even after you bench him, really positive signs. And San Francisco at 23. The Brock Purdy contract's now going to become a huge, huge topic for discussion. Kyle Shanahan, has he worn out his welcome? He's just, I don't know, man. Things are really bad, and the window may officially be shut in San Francisco. But let's go on and move to our middle tier teams 22 through 16. Some of these teams still alive, fighting for their playoff lives. Okay, at 22, we got the Jets here. What a disastrous season for them. And Aaron Rodgers was pretty bad on Sunday against the Rams. He had a decent stat line. He was missing throws. It's so dysfunctional in New York, and they're just going to blow this bad boy up. Arizona, one of the worst losses you could have imagined, fighting for your lives, and you go out with a whimper like that in an overtime loss to the Panthers, who playing for nothing but pride. And Kyler Murray's looking a hell of a lot more like Daniel Jones than a real good quarterback in this league these days. Indianapolis at 20, still, they have a real shot there. If they win out, Denver loses the next 2, they will find their ways into the playoffs. Jonathan Taylor dropping that ball, probably going to end this team's season against Denver, because I truly believe they would have won that game if he doesn't drop that ball going into the end zone. Tried to make up for it, 200 yards and 3 touchdowns. Just the second Colts running back in franchise history to do it. Miami at 19. Another kind of lackadaisical game. It's under 80 degrees, so it's a little bit struggle for a good chunk of this game on offense. Defense does okay. Just San Francisco just making bad mistakes. But Devon Achane leading the team in rushing and receiving yards. That's pretty cool for a running back to do. Atlanta 18. They played the Giants. They're going to look good against the Giants. The defense is starting to get after the quarterback, I guess. Michael Penix in his first career NFL start wasn't bad. No touchdowns and an interception. Not his fault. Kyle Pitts is a bozo and a bum. Just get rid of Kyle Pitts. But Penix can move a little bit more. That's a little bit interesting, I think, for me. Helps out the Falcons offense. And they now control their destiny in the NFC South. Dallas at 17. ruining their draft position and winning a meaningless game. Man, they're going to have nightmares about that muff punt against Cincinnati. That would have been a win, and they would be easily in this wild card hunt right now with just 2 games to go. And 16, Cincinnati, it's a long shot, but they're hanging around. The defense has been playing better the last few weeks. We know how good Joe Burrow and this offense has been. Jamar Chase is about to get a mint. I cannot wait to see what this contract is going to look like for him. But let's go on into it. What you came here for, my top 15 teams. Okay, I'm going to keep Seattle here at 15. What a real tough scheduling break for the Seahawks after having a hot run after their bye. They face back-to-back juggernauts from the NFC North in Green Bay and Minnesota, both at home, and you drop both of them. This was a kitchen sink game for the Seahawks, and I thought they played well. I thought their defense kind of stepped up, used the crowd to their advantage. They were able to put Darnold under duress, really didn't allow much of a running game to get going, and Geno was really good, bad knee and all. They made him drop back 40 times, and besides that final interception to seal the deal, Geno was lights out, led them down the field, got them the lead with under 5 minutes to play in the fourth quarter. I felt like Seattle bailed on the run game a little bit too much. Kenneth Walker did get banged up in this game. It's always something with Kenneth Walker. As much as I love him, seems to be an issue. DK Metcalf had an early touchdown, but they really didn't go back to him. Felt like he was a size advantage for them. Jackson Smith and Jigba, another solid game. It was just kind of ugly. They were bad on third down. I just think this is a bad scheduling break. They're now out of control of their fate. The Rams are going to win this division based on strength of victory. It looks like if the Seahawks win out and the Rams just win their game next week, the Rams will win the division at 10-7 and the Seahawks will not. So really tough break for the Seahawks all around. Some positive signs in year one, but might be looking for a new quarterback, trying to figure some new things out, get the offensive line shirt up. Seattle here at 15. Okay, I got the Texans here at 14, and honestly, I felt like the Texans were going to beat the Chiefs on Saturday, and the momentum was there for them until Tank Dell blew out his knee, dislocated his kneecap, and tore his ACL. Devastating injury for the Texans. We've talked about how we've been kind of concerned with what the Texans' offense has been doing. They've been la-di-daing. CJ Stroud is clearly a young quarterback, feeling a little bit too emotional for me. He went into full breakdown mode after Tank Dell got hurt. I know that's his best friend. I know it's emotional, but you are the quarterback of a franchise. You got to be that level-headed one. You got to get your teammates rocking and rolling, and they were just never the same once Tank Dell went down. Joe Mixon couldn't get much going on the ground. Houston's defense isn't great either. They can get after the quarterback, but they really can't cover on the back end. They've won the AFC South. They're going to be hosting a first-round wildcard game. So we could be looking at the Texans in the divisional round, probably getting one of those softer actually, no, they're probably going to get the AFC North team, now that I think about it. So you're getting the Steelers, the Ravens. Not an ideal matchup for them, but Houston has a shot. They can get it going. We just need an upgrade from CJ Stroud. We need them to find Nico Collins more, break out the playbook, Bobby Slowick. Otherwise, this Texans team could be a little bit of a disappointment for their fans this year. Okay, I'm keeping Denver here at 13, and the only reason the Broncos are staying at 13 is because of the injury to Tank Dell. I mean, I've been calling it. Broncos are frauds, man. Blew a 21-point lead to the Chargers. That's something good teams do not do. That was really bad. Look, this team is very limited offensively. Bo Nix can look good when he's on script, planned out plays. The first 15 plays, Sean Payton draws up, but when they got to make second half adjustments, teams adjust to them. This team really can't do much. It was honestly the best they looked running the football with their running backs all season, I thought. But still, it wasn't great. Now, again, it was a short week on the road in the division. Those are tough spots for them, but you can't lose that game after you get that lead. The Chargers looked great in the second half. Justin Herbert kind of just put the team on his back, and the defense was a massive upgrade. I mean, they were getting killed, like touchdowns on the first 3 drives of the game. It was bad for LA, but Jim Harbaugh just finds a way to get a winning record. Now, both of these teams are probably going to find themselves into the playoffs, but Denver just feels like the team that's going to be the 7th seed. They're going to go to Buffalo. They're just limited offensively when they can't really run the football. Defense is really good, but they've obviously shown some holes against teams that can throw the football that, you just concerns you. Way ahead of schedule for Denver, but not a serious contender in the AFC here at 13. Okay, Tampa dropping 3 spots here at 12. What a devastating loss for the Buccaneers. Probably going to end up finishing their season now. They need to be big-time Commanders fans this weekend coming up. But what a weird and wacky game in Dallas. Dallas gets eliminated a few hours before the game, and they really brought it to him. The defense was playing downhill. The offense for Dallas was rocking and rolling, and Tampa Bay just got off to a slow start. They weren't very crisp offensively, a couple of drop passes, weren't able to get the running game really going. Bucky Irving looked good in spurts, but just real no consistency from him. Rashad White was essentially nothing. Some goofy, fluky turnovers, the one to end this game, and the deep interception thrown to McMillan that probably should have been a touchdown. McMillan fights for that ball. It's a simultaneous catch and a touchdown, and their season swings like that. Defense, we know they can stop the run, but they struggle in the passing game. Teams can carve them up. This was a devastating loss for the Buccaneers. Up against it now. I thought this was a good team and a hot team. I thought they would win out, be a dangerous wild card team, or division winner, I should say, out of the wild card round in the NFC. Easily, I think they could have upset Minnesota or Green Bay, who would have been traveling to them in round one. But Tampa Bay probably done now here at number 12. Okay, at 11, I got the Chargers. What an incredible turnaround for Jim Harbaugh. All he does is actually win football games. Kirk Cignetti, what an amazing turnaround. No running game to speak of whatsoever for the Chargers. It was slightly better than the worst rushing attack in the universe. Gus Edwards did get it done, I guess, had a couple of touchdowns on the ground. But big news, J.K. Dobbins' practice window has opened up. They're expecting him to be back this week. That's going to be a huge upgrade to the offense. Ladd McConkey, what a great rookie wide receiver he's been for the Chargers. Quentin Johnson still can't catch a football, but sometimes he's good. We got Raheem Palmer out there. There are some guys that are going to have to step up and make plays. It's really just Justin Herbert on offense is being an elite quarterback, knowing when to tuck the ball, the right throws to make. Just incredible, that touchdown throw he had. And the defense, this has been one of the best unit turnarounds in the NFL. Now, they're getting a little bit carved up once they face some competent offenses. They aren't as great as they were to start the year, but they're still doing a good job. It's great second half adjustments from them. They can rush the quarterback. They can stop the run. And you know what? The back end's probably their biggest piece of concern for me. But they're good enough, man. If you can get after quarterbacks, if you can stop the run, you make life very difficult for teams. So the Chargers, probably a little bit ahead of schedule as well. They're going to be into the playoffs. Are they a dangerous wild card team? It depends who they play. They could grind you to death, which is going to be awful if you're a high-flying team. Chargers are going to be able to travel with this kind of football they play. Fun, exciting team heading into January, I think. Chargers here at 11. Okay, I got the Rams here at 10. It was another ugly performance by the Rams. Honestly, the Jets did everything they could to try and lose this game. The Rams scored 13 unanswered in the fourth quarter to squeak out with a 19-9 win. There was a million missed kicks. Stafford looked awful. Matt Stafford will go looking like a old Matt Stafford MVP type guy one week to a washed guy who, looking like Kirk Cousins out there another week. It's very bizarre, but Kyren Williams, really good on the ground. We know how good these two wide receivers can be, but clearly the cold weather is going to be an issue for the Rams, but the Rams now control their destiny in the NFC West, probably going to be a host in a first-round game against, either Minnesota, Detroit, or Green Bay, so that's going to be a very big positive for them against those two teams, because this team is, they have the quarterback, they have the Super Bowl pedigree with Sean McVay. The defense is not quite there yet. They have a good pass rush. Jared Verse going to be your defensive rookie of the year, probably, but the secondary isn't that great. They're just kind of like young and aggressive, but that can help you in a postseason situation. You're too young not to know you're too young to be in that spot there, and obviously all the veteran experience for them. I do think a team that can score points is going to be able to get to them cold weather, slow down this offense. They can bully Stafford and the passing game, and they're going to have to lean on the run game. And the defense, I don't think, is going to be good enough against the better offenses in the conference. So the Rams here at number 10, maybe a sneaky, sleepy team here because of their pedigree, but I think ultimately they're going to be limited with the roster they currently have. Okay, Pittsburgh down a spot here at number 9. Tough loss without George Pickens. It looked like Pittsburgh was, kind of turning the tide. They always beat the Ravens, and it looked like they had a moment there, but then Russ throws the pick 6, and this party's over. But we've been talking about it for a few weeks now. No George Pickens on this offense has been a disaster for them, I would say. They aren't able to move the football consistently. They can't get the run game going. Teams are stacking the box against them. Russell doesn't trust throwing the ball downfield to people. Had the tough fumble. Looked like Russ was playing like young Russ early in that game. Now, they got to win out. They win out. They win the division, and they're going to be hosting a playoff game. So they are still in control of their own destiny. They're up against it a little bit, though. Huge, massive game on Christmas now against the Kansas City Chiefs. This is a Pittsburgh team that much rather be playing at home than having to go on the road. Now they're going to get Pickens back. I think that's a big help. This is a critical spot for a Steelers team that we kind of knew was maybe playing a little bit over their head a little bit with the defense is great, but are they going to be able to keep this up? The offense was playing way better than we thought they would with Russell Wilson. They've taken a step back. Can they get back to where they were when they were on that hot winning streak, scoring 24 to 28 points, getting the defense, playing with the lead? That helps mightily for them. So Pittsburgh here at number 9, critical 2 games coming up for the Steelers. Okay, Washington here at number 8. They're officially ahead of schedule as they're essentially locked for the postseason. Just got to win one of their final 2 games or have somebody lose behind them, and the Commanders are going to find themselves in the postseason. What a massive comeback victory for the Commanders. Look, obviously no Jalen Hurts for most of this game. You're playing Kenny Pickett. They had 5 turnovers on offense and found a way to win this game. It was just a disaster class on the turnover count, but Jaden Daniels, ice water in his vein, late fourth quarter drives against a Philadelphia defense that's been lights out for most of the season, and they looked awful against Washington in this game. They were killing them in the passing game. They really couldn't get anything on the ground going besides Jaden taking off, and they just threw all over this team. This is a concern if you're Philadelphia, but this is a huge positive if you're Washington. I like this team. They're going to be on the road for the playoffs, so potentially a one and done for them. Maybe they find a way to upset, maybe Philly. They're the 7th seed and they get Philly in their first round game with a beat up Jalen Hurts. They play the Eagles very well. But Jaden Daniels, man, great rookie quarterback. You love a guy who's got the confidence, the calm, cool demeanor to go on those late drives. He's got 2 game-winning drives now with a touchdown pass in the final 30 seconds of the fourth quarter. That's the most by a rookie in NFL history. 5 touchdown passes for him. Got to get the run game going a little bit more. Brian Robinson with 2 fumbles. Can't have that. But this is an interesting Washington team, especially if they get matched up with the Eagles here in the first round. Washington at 8, way ahead of schedule. Great season for the Commanders. Okay, got the Packers still here at 7. I'm not sure what to make of this Monday night win. I really don't put any stock into it. At home against a JV team, I'm pretty sure a college team probably could have beat that team that the Saints threw out there tonight. I mean, that was just a bunch of bad out there, and Green Bay looked fine. They scored 3 straight touchdowns to open the game. They ran the ball well. Jordan Love is efficient, throwing to their wide receivers. Christian Watson continues to be made out of glass. He got banged up. Again, we'll see where that goes. And the Packers defense was feasting. This was kind of a perfect storm for them. Here's the real test for the Packers. They've lost all their games to teams with at least 12 wins on the season, including 3 of their 4 losses to the division teams with 13 in Detroit and Minnesota. They're at Minnesota this week. If they can beat the Vikings this week, win next week, they have a shot to move up to the 5 seed. They're out for the division now. They could easily be, this is crazy. The NFC North is clearly the best division in football. Any of these teams, the Packers finish with 12 wins, or they could finish with 13, 13, and 14 wins respectively, or 15 wins in this division. And 13 wins is the most wins ever by a team to not win a division title. So that's the kind of historical greatness we're looking at in the NFC North. I just don't know what to do with Green Bay. Necessarily, it's been a very soft schedule, and against the very good teams, they've played well, but they just haven't been able to beat them. So real test for the Packers here on what their playoff prospects are going to look like coming up this weekend in Minnesota, a must-win game for both of these teams. A, for the Packers to move to the 5 seed, B, for the Vikings to move to the 1 seed. I'll be interested to see how this game plays out. Packers here at number 7 for now, with the potential to be making a real move for the rest of the season. Baltimore at 6, nice win for the Ravens. They needed that one. They struggle against Pittsburgh, and they managed to get it done. Now, they don't have control of their own destiny. They do got to force Pittsburgh to win out, and their schedule is much more difficult than the Ravens do have. Ravens now get the Texans on Christmas. That should be fun without Tank Dell. I think the Ravens have a nice advantage there. Lamar asserting himself back into the MVP race. Another great performance. And he's got a couple of prime time spots to show it off. Did have the horrendous interception, which is like, come on, Lamar. Derrick Henry, I don't know what's going on with the run game there. Maybe he is getting to that age point, running out of gas. The Ravens have not been able to run the football well. It's great to see Mark Andrews back out there. Zay Flowers, another nice performance too. Rashad Bateman is a touchdown machine for this offense. The defense, doing a good job against the run. The secondary has been better, but that's going to be the real test for what the Ravens are going to do in the playoffs. Are they going to be able to get some stops and force teams off the football, keep them out of the end zone, keep them from only kicking a field goal, not scoring points, while having Lamar play good football? Because we see this point where Lamar can't move the football, he can't score, and then the defense has to stop everybody every time, and they can't. Or we see Lamar's being a hero, scoring all the time, and the defense can't stop a nosebleed. We got to get a balance of these two here, because this is a very dangerous and deadly football team. This is a talented team. This is a very well-coached team. I think the Ravens are going to be a very, very sneaky wild card team. I don't even know if they're sneaky just because of their pedigree. They're going to be a pain in the ass draw for one of these division winners, probably Houston again. Or if Pittsburgh slips up, they win this AFC North, they slide into the 3 seed, get to host a playoff game, then they got to go to Buffalo in round 1. That would be a lot of, or round 2, I should say, in the divisional round. Interesting thing here, but we know what the measurement for the Ravens team is going to be. What does Lamar look like in the playoffs? Ravens here at 6. Okay, I'm dropping the Eagles 4 spots here to number 5. And you know what? Kenny Pickett, it's not your fault, man. Did have the one bad interception when this game was going to get put away, but they had a 14-0 lead in this game. They were looking really good. Kenny Pickett did just enough, man. Coming off the bench in that situation, they weren't able to run the ball at all after the first quarter. Saquon had like 109 yards in the first quarter and then finished with 150 something. So like 48 yards, 50 yards the rest of the game. It was bizarre, man. Kenny Pickett did fine. Devontae Smith dropped the ball. If he catches that ball, this game's over, man. They get a win there. The real concern is this defense. This has been an elite defense all year long, and Washington really unlocked them. They weren't able to run the football. We know the run game has been the best part of this Eagles defense, but that secondary, this is one of the units we've been pounding on all season. What an amazing turnaround they had. They showed their rookie stripes, man. They couldn't cover people. They were leaving guys wide open. I mean, wide open in the end zone for the game-winning touchdown. You just can't have that. There was a lot of communication breakdowns, and Nick Sirianni making goofball coaching decisions again. Doesn't know what he's doing, getting a little too aggressive on 4th down. He's freaking out. This is the concern with the Eagles. If everything is going right, they are arguably the best team in this league. But when things get off, when Sirianni goes off the rails, things aren't perfect, they can easily implode. So these are a critical final 2 games for the Eagles here. They've essentially locked into the 2 seed in the NFC because of how stupid the playoff system is, that you have to win a division to get a home playoff game and be a 2 seed instead of just what your record is. But alas, Eagles are the 2 seed. They did throw away any shots at the 1 seed realistically. There's an outside chance if there's a couple of losses here, but Philly going to be the 2 seed hosting 2 playoff games, probably getting the Commanders in round 1, which is the absolute last team you want to see if you're Philadelphia. I'm expecting Jalen Hurts to sit this week with the concussion, get him ready, get him right for the playoffs, because this entire season is going to be Super Bowl or bust if you're the Eagles franchise, because I could see Nick Sirianni getting bounced if this thing is one and done and blows up in Philadelphia. Eagles here at number 5. Okay, we can't deny it anymore. Put my Vikings here at number 4. I mean, what an incredible season this is. This team was projected to win 7 games, 7.5, 6.5 was their win total in Vegas. They're all the way up to 13 now. They went out. They will be your number 1 seed in the NFC. What an amazing job, your coach of the year, Kevin O'Connell, turning around Sam Darnold. And Sam Darnold is playing like that number 3 draft pick that he was, man. We knew what Sam Darnold's intangibles were, and he's looking like it. He's cut down on the turnovers, but he still has those big-time playmaking ability with his legs, a huge arm, and he gets the ball to his receivers. Justin Jefferson, the best wide receiver in the league, is really coming on of late. You pair him with Jordan Addison, who's an elite number 2 wide receiver, great tight end in TJ Hockenson, and the running game has been very effective the last few weeks with Aaron Jones. I think the biggest concern with me is the defense isn't a great defense. There's not a lot of crazy impact players out there. They are great at rushing the passer. They force turnovers like nobody's business, but they can give up some passing yards. It's hard to run against them, but you can throw on them. And the offensive line isn't great for Minnesota. I think they struggle with blitz pickups and protections, but this is an extremely well-coached team. Now 8-1 in 1-score games this season. That's not luck. That's good coaching. That's good football. I mean, when you look at how good KOC has been as the head coach of the Vikings in one-score games. It's absolutely ridiculous. You can't call it luck every single year now. It's 2 out of the first 3 years for him. So Minnesota's a real contender. Now they're up against it. They got Green Bay at home and at Detroit. If they can win those 2 games, they're your 1 seed. They'll have earned your 1 seed, but they're in a tough situation as the 5 seed or potentially a 6 seed going on the road. Now, obviously, if you can play defense, if you're in great weather, that'll help you out a lot, but I am a little bit concerned potentially on going all out in Week 18, losing a close game to Detroit, and just being dead for the first round of the playoffs. So Vikings here at number 4 for me. Okay, Buffalo down to number 3 here. Wasn't a pretty game. They did manage to win. They do keep pace with the Kansas City Chiefs for the number 1 overall seed, but New England kind of gave them fits offensively all night. I mean, they could not get the ball to their receivers. James Cook had a fantastic day, a pair of touchdowns, 100 yards on the ground, was their leading receiver for the day. And Josh Allen was, he's been Superman the last few weeks. He wasn't great. And this Bills defense, there are some real issues there. New England scored 21 points. They were moving the football. They had a chance late in this game, came down to an onside kick. Obviously the numbers are really low on that, but still, there's a lot of question marks with Buffalo. I just don't think this defense is good enough. They're going to have to get into a shootout every week now. They're going to have home field advantage if they don't get the bye until the AFC Championship game, make a couple teams go to Buffalo in bad weather. That's going to suit them because there's really only one other quarterback that can play in inclement weather as good as Josh Allen, and that's the guy that they're not going to play in Buffalo in Kansas City and Mahomes. So I think they're in a really good spot here to make another deep run, potentially an AFC Championship game. Hey, and you never know, if Pittsburgh takes down Kansas City, Buffalo wins out, you're looking at a real shot at the number 1 seed. So Buffalo here at 3, I do think there are major concerns on the defense that are ultimately going to kill this team. But hey, if Josh Allen gets hot once again for a 3-game run, 4-game run, we could be looking at your first Buffalo Bills Super Bowl championship. Okay, I got the Lions here at number 2. The injuries, obviously, are still a really big concern on this defense. Chicago moved the ball relatively well in the first half against Detroit, but again, it's Chicago. They do kind of goofy and weird shit all the time, but the really positive signs from this game was the offense. Jared Goff threw the ball a ton because this rushing attack is clearly not going to be quite as potent with just Jahmyr Gibbs in the backfield. It's not that thunder and lightning mix-up. It's just all one pace all the time, which makes it a little bit easier on defenses. But Jared Goff in cold weather, outdoors, late, really good performance again. Again, though, Detroit's kind of a little goofy. They would never try the fake stumble trick play on anybody but a team as bad as Chicago to make that work. So Detroit loves to front run for them, but you got to be absolutely sick if you're a Detroit Lions fan. This is the greatest season in your 96-year history. You're at 13 wins, a franchise record, still 2 games to play, and you are up against it, man. You're going to have to win every single game to bring home this division title and the 1 seed in the NFC. But I think a lot of questions have been answered about the stability of the Lions long term. If they can get the 1 seed, get the bye, you get the defense a little bit healthier. Hosting 2 playoff games indoors is also a huge plus for them. The Lions feel like Super Bowl or buffs, obviously, but these next 2 weeks are going to tell us a lot. Either going to be the greatest season in Lions history or maybe one of the biggest pitfalls that they have ever seen as a fan base. Lions here at number 2. So obviously that means back on top your Kansas City Chiefs. It's never pretty, it's never perfect, but just win, baby. The Chiefs find a way to win the game. And look, clearly they oversold the Patrick Mahomes injury because his ankle looks fine and he's going to be playing again on Wednesday. So maybe it was just an ankle twist and they called it a high ankle sprain, and it wasn't no high ankle sprain. He clearly bounced back. Now, there are some very concerning numbers with the Chiefs on offense and defense, as far as the Chiefs really can't run the ball. They can't get any sort of consistency going, and they're lacking the big explosive plays over the top. They're forced to kill you by death by 1,000 cuts, and that gets very hard to do. You have to be perfect. That's why the Chiefs end up kicking a lot of field goals. And the Chiefs defense, very good against the run, very good at rushing the passer up front, but they can't cover people, man. Their secondary has been dreadful the last month or so. They're struggling to cover people deep. Again, this game really turned when Tank Dell went out. If Tank Dell doesn't go out, I think they're going to have their hands full and potentially lose this game. And that's the problem against teams you're potentially going to face in the AFC playoff. Now, home field again, a bye, get everybody healthy, get some things figured out. This coaching staff is so elite. They'll get the things figured out. This is truly setting up for another. I can't believe we're actually here. This doesn't look like anywhere near one of the best Chiefs teams, but they're going to have the best record of any of these Chiefs teams. And the three-peat is in full swing now. 2 wins at home and a Super Bowl win. And you're looking at 3 straight for the Kansas City Chiefs here at number 1. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Who am I too high on? Who am I too low on? Go back and forth. I love debating with you guys in the comments. Let me know what you guys think. If you haven't already, drop a quick like on this video. Hit that thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. We got daily sports content for you guys. If you want to support the channel more, sign up for a channel membership. You get your exclusive members-only video every Friday, breaking it down. Plus, you get all sorts of cool and exclusive perks throughout the streams. It's a lot of fun. Help support me. Allows me to keep making this great content for you guys every single day. If you want to check out one of these games live, just 2 weeks left in the season, head on over to SeatGeek.com. Use code AfterTheReview for $20 off your first purchase. That's SeatGeek.com, code AfterTheReview for $20 off your first purchase. Again, like, subscribe, and share, and I'll see y'all tomorrow.